I've got a lovely bright colored card with a pop from the Pixie Powders. We'll show you those using the Hexagons. We will run you through the selection of the dies. This is the Nasturtium cluster, which I've used around the edge. The Victoria, which is going to be right in the center. The Scarlett, I've just used the center for my sentiment. And here are the double-stitched Hexagons. We're going to be making frames out of those. The clear stamp set called Sweet Wishes is where the sentiment comes from. And the Tulip Twist, we're going to give a little embossing to the background first. Move these out of our way. And I've got a piece of coconut white card here, and I'll give you a quick measurement. Approximately 7 1/8 square. Going to put that inside of my embossing folder, the Tulip Twist. Now this is kind of a random pattern, so you don't have to worry about it being in there perfectly straight. The sandwich is just the base plate and then the raspberry adapter. There we go. That to the side so you can see I've got a really nice emboss from that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into place on my background. And I've decided, because I've got the Pixie Powders we're working with, I'm just going to use a white on white border for it. Just let all the color come from our Pixie Powders. Just put a little bit of glue on this. Pop that straight down. There we go. So now we have a little bit of texture that's going to show through the background. So I'll set that off to the side for the moment. And I'm going to bring in a piece of wax paper to do my pixie powdering. It's kind of a habit I have because they are very, very highly pigmented color. And I'm going to be using the Midnight Blue, the Purple Violet, and the last one is the Aqua Lagoon. I always tell people, do a big full-size sheet of card. That way you've got some extra and you can use it for other things, but I'm just going to use a little bit here just to show you how it works. Now with the Pixie Powders, what you want to do is just tap them on. Do not squeeze them at all. And just sort of get them all over the card. So that is our Purple Violet, Aqua Lagoon. You can sort of, with this one, see where you are because it's got a little bit of that blue color to it. Some of them look very gray when they come out, so you're never quite sure what they're going to look like. And Midnight Blue, which is another one that has a little bit of that gray look to it. Now the thing is with Pixie Powders, and I love demonstrating these because it's always different every single time you do it, but there's absolutely no way to go wrong doing these. Okay, now the other thing I want to do before I go any further is just put a little bit of tape on the side, and that'll help keep the card from bowing because we're going to get it wet. In fact, let's do one more here. Okay, you have a little void there, so that's another reason to do one that's a little bit larger. So get your powder all laid down and just use a spritz bottle with water and just give it a light spritz. Now the thing is, if you put too much water on there, let's say I really flood that and I think, oh, that's too much, although that is quite pretty. It's totally your call. But what you can do is just pick up some of that excess with a piece of kitchen roll, and then you can go back and add in a bit more powder and spritz again. So there's really no way to do it wrong. And then if you think, oh, I've got too much aqua in there, I want some more purple, you can add some of that color back in. So there's no right or wrong way to do these, but you really cannot mess them up. You can give them all a bit more spray, bring out the color, because every bit of that powder is pigment, so you're activating that. Now the other thing you want to do is either let it dry naturally or bring in a heat tool. But when you have a heat tool, you're going to have a lot of blending of the colors. You can still even dry it a little bit with a kitchen roll if you like. And then if you think, oh, I'd still like that a little bit brighter, you can go back in and add more to it. put a little bit more of your blue or your purple in there, whatever tones you want. Give it another spritz and bring it back in. So there is really no way to do a bad piece of pixie powdered background. Personally, I like to let it dry naturally. I love the way it flows like that and let it just sit and move it to the side. Dries in a few minutes, but it's up to you. You can dry it with a heat tool or not. But what I would recommend is making sure that once you have finished it and moved it out of your way, that you are really, really sure that you've cleaned up all the extra pigment that comes around, because you still will have that in your work area. So be very careful about that, okay? So now I've done one ahead of time. I'll show it to you. So you can see all the beautiful colors. And the only thing I will tell you about pixie powders is they'll never be the same twice, okay? So you won't be able to repeat what you've done, but it's absolutely lovely like that. So I'm gonna use that in a minute, but I'm gonna go forward. I've gone ahead and cut out my hexagon using 2 of the different dies with a gap in between. I've mounted it up, and I've put some of these nasturtium clusters on there already. Now this set comes with the spray, comes with the center flower that matches, and then it comes with the little side flowers to match, and I've cut them out of the extra pieces of pixie powder. So I'm just going to go ahead and add them onto the corners by putting a little bit of glue just on the end pieces here. Getting them just a little bit tacky there. There we go. And I'm going to bring them around and just put them off the sides of the hexagon, just catching the edge to the backing foam there. And I'll do the last one here. So you can see I've just worked my way all the way around those edges. And you've got a really lovely piece there. So we'll go ahead and put that into the middle of our card, and then we'll work forward from there. And I think I'll just use a bit of glue. Seat that into the middle. So you can see a little bit of that embossed outline showing from behind it. And I've got one more that I've cut, the smaller hexagon, so I'm going to put that in the center of it, so we'll have a double frame. And I've added a little bit of mounting foam to the back just to raise it. There we go. Center that right in the middle. So you've got that beautiful pop of color coming through. There we go. So this piece here, I'm going to take and cut the Victoria out of that one. Put that down, and you can just pick up any section of that you like, whether you want it to be, you know, one of the brighter, more purple areas. Totally your call. I'm going to tape it into place. Go. And give this a quick little run with my tool-in-one. Get some of the bits out. Remove my tape. There. There we go. That one tore. Put that back onto our magnetic sheet. And let me get the last few bits out of here. I'm going to cover the center of that, so I'm not fussed about that not being poked out, but you can see how pretty that is. A little piece of mounting foam on the back of it. That should fit right into the center there. Let's get that little guy off. There we go. Pop that right into the middle, bringing that same color in, and then I've stamped and cut out the sentiment, which will fit right across the middle there. There you go. How pretty is that? A couple of pearls in the corner, and you've finished off a beautiful card. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and you'll look for us on our YouTube channel again soon.